Man, this comic book sucks. And the reviews online said it was good. I wasted my money. Why didn't somebody tell me?
Hey everybody, this is our second review today, and we're reviewing the new Avengers book, Avengers number 4, and the cover isn't actually what happens in the story.
Never is in a Marvel book. Not these days.
We paid for Alex Ross cover, and you know, sometimes they sell, but this story is a historical overview, almost like a painted story of Kang the Conqueror. And if Mark Waid told us what Kang actually meant, it'd be some sort of irony between him calling himself a conqueror, I guess because he's already Kang. Kang means someone, I guess, who conquered something or something like that. But anyway,
yeah, Kang is actually in Korean. Kang would be king.
Okay, there we go. So we have this story where we go through Kang's history, and it's pretty much consistent with Kang's history. But for Mark Waid, he does these villain stories where we're doing a villain history, where the guy sort of walks through his history and says, like he did this with the Red Skull, which I have read his original story, and those couple of lines of dialogue are not a big deal why he took his name off of it. But he does this sort of thing, which is a workable story for him. It's just only, writers recreate moments, have some, stuff they've already done. But Mark Waid does the whole thing over. I'm doing the whole book over. But it's a gorgeous book. I don't know about the part of the history that Kang's face is a big, important part of.
Well, who's doing the art chores on it?
I don't know. As an artist, I don't know. But it's like close to painted if it's not painted already. It's really nice. It's a nice looking book. It's not much story in it, but it's basically going over his history. And then the Avengers come in the end. And Kang is bothered in some way, which he shouldn't be. But, it's just a precursor book. It's sort of like a prelogue to what's going to happen.
So it's pretty much what he did with the Red Skull before he reintroduced them. He gave us that whole issue. He gave us that whole issue to refamiliarize ourselves with the Red Skull. Mm-hmm. And then the Red Skull was going to come back and put Captain America, through his paces, and it was off to the races once more.
Yeah.
I got more familiarized with Kang with Busiek's run, with the Busiek's Avengers Forever storyline, which Petey hates, and I absolutely am enthralled.
How did they let him do this?
That was the first book I saw that was able to really manage a lot of continuity.
No, it wasn't. He's totally hijacking the story.
If you guys disagree,
we're not reviewing this.
We'll review Avengers Forever.
We're not.
Help me. What we have to say about it.
Help me. Why would he do this to me? He totally swindled me.
Come on.
We're not changing this into
this right here is very much in the same vein of what Busiek did, except of course it's a more condensed, it's more truncated. But these are issues that I think that they should do with more villains like Kang, who have this incredibly. Kang's history stems from the Fantastic Four, because they wanted to tie Kang into Ramatut. They wanted to tie Ramatut into Dr. Doom.
No, they did do that. But it's like...
And the thing is, Kang always loses. He always loses, but Kang is still victorious in the future. So that's something that I've always... At some point, Kang wins. He just never wins when we see it. But at some point, and he's always trying to hold on...
all the villains lose.
No, Kang is different, because Kang is victorious in the future. He keeps coming back to the past to ensure that he will stay victorious in the future. So this is a villain who has been successful. The only other person I know of who's like that is Dr. Doom. When we go to the future, most of the Marvel future says that Dr. Doom eventually succeeds in subjugating the entire planet, which is crazy when you actually think about it with all these worlds of heroes.
Well, since we're going back, we have to say the Avengers have a problem where either they have lame villains, or they steal other people's villains, or they steal existing villains. So it's the first Avengers, they stole a Loki. That's a Thor character. So you have that connection, but it's not like a Doctor Doom that starts in the book.
More of a loan than an outright.
There's a lot of loaning, because they took a lot of...
With Loki, I say loan, because you don't see Loki again for a very long time.
Well, there's also like the Kree Skull War, where you take all these Fantastic Four characters and say, oh, it's the Marvel Universe. And we can no, well then you can do all that stuff in Fantastic Four. It's like no, we're gonna alone because the Avengers don't have anyone. But when we got to Avengers 6, we get Kang because they had the second Avengers was the Space Phantom, which people sort of like no, Space Phantom is kind of lame. Even
It's a Skrull.
But yeah, it's like Stan, I'm gonna do this. I'm doing a little different here. But Kang, we got something that was a little different, and it had all of the cool
Loki. Space Phantom,
Submariner, and Hulk.
Then they stole one of their own members to make him a villain.
Yeah, so
the Hulk,
Submariner, and Hulk,
and that's like for 2 issues.
2 issues, yes.
That's
then
2
the
issues
Lava
right
Man, and the Hulk comes back, but the Hulk is not necessarily a bad guy.
He's fighting with them, so he's an Avenger.
No, he doesn't know. They're tricking him. They're tricking him to fight. But the Lava Men are introduced, and then which is another offshoot of like the Mole Man or something like that. And then we get Kang.
Yeah.
And then some point, I guess. Later in the series, Shooter really doesn't take the like Shooter does his classic run, but then we get to Secret Wars. Dr. Doom just turns to Kang and is just like, blast! I'm gonna just kill Kang like right out the blue. So then later, who is it comes and
those two can't exist in the same.
But it's like you don't like it. That was too far.
Look,
from me.
if you read Secret Wars, what Doom did is like you can't have the two of them together because those two guys are after the same thing. Total power.
If Doom and Ramatut can hang in the same room and say, "Hey, we have some similarities."
Kang is more dangerous. Kang is more dangerous than Ramatut.
So he just kills him like out of the blue. So then I think who is it? Roger Stern does the cross time Kangs, where he had like 3 other Kangs, and then Walt Simonson says, "Oh no, if you're gonna have cross time Kangs, we're gonna have Kangs from all over." So it's like, but the Roger Stern story was pretty interesting because it's Kang versus Immortus, which they're almost the same character, and then
Immortus is supposed to be like another offshoot of Kang.
Exactly. So then you go to Walt Simonson, who did like a really big celestial cross-time Kang story, and then we get to Kurt Busiek, who did not only did his story but he did a long story with Kang, which is like almost like maybe it was like 12 or 13 issues where the Avengers are fighting Kang, but also Kang has this Marcus character, which is trying to explain the whole of Avengers 2000, and then we get to your story, which.
Avengers.
I think as far as the approach, there's just too much continuity in it. So now we have a Kang in this story where Kang is going to fight the Avengers. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but
I think he will.
It's a precursor to him fighting, but he's for some reason he has like way to sort of accented the mask as being a strong thing, whereas so I became Ramatut because of all this thing, but it didn't work out, so I got the face. The face is what made it. It's just like, I don't know, but the art's nice. It's a good precursor comic if you like those sort of things.
I think that part of it he's trying to, because there's no real reason for him to wear the mask, so he's trying to give some sort of relevance to the mask, which is totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
But I like the setup. And it's a necessary setup because once again he's fighting the Avengers, but these aren't Avengers that we've seen him fight before. So okay, let's reintroduce Kang, and it is important too because again the villains are supposed to lose, for the most part. So we have to have them reintroduced so we can remember these guys and give them some sort of gravitas as to why these guys are major villains for the Avengers, if anyone, at the end of the day. All in all, structurally, I thought it was very sound. The characterization there, plot moves along without any problem. Very good art to look at. So, for me, I'm going to come out of the pocket. I'm going to give this 4. You got 4 stars right over here. That means, go ahead. Get yourself educated as to Kang the Conqueror, written by Mark Waid. Can't go too wrong there. And some nice, pretty images to look at.
I'm going 3. I think they could have added a little more to it. I mean, the classic Marvel sort of thing of doing a history story would be, let's do that, but then have something more happen, sort of like, to use like when they did Doom's history in the Burns run. Doom in the end does something real dramatic at the end. So like,
well, that's next issue.
But they can do it. The dramatic point this issue, say, oh, sweat, he attacked the Avenger. He did.
Be glad we're getting this because a lot of this Marvel stuff sucks. So be glad we're getting this.
Yeah, we got. I didn't point out that. I didn't think about that point, but I'm going to give he's already said his thing about Avengers Forever. Kurt Busiek has taken the Vision and Scarlet Witch and totally changed how they conceived the kids. In the story where the kids happen...
Because the burn stuff sucked.
No. The story where the kids happen, he's saying that, what's the name, Vision's artificial parts conceived the kid. And in Steve Englehart's story, there's no artificial parts. She drags those things, they're in full costume when they conceive the kids. And she drags these, whatever they are, and they disappear. They disappear. Kurt Busiek threw out continuity just to bring the stuff back when he didn't even follow it. He's like, I'm the king of continuity now. I can do whatever I want. He was totally mad with power.
The idea with continuity,
totally mad with power.
The idea with continuity is that we have to try to bring in this stuff that is important. That
Vision
works,
can't have kids.
And we got to lose the stuff over,
He doesn't have
stuff
kids.
over here. This is confusing to the overall continuity.
That was the confusing part. He can't conceive.
So we let it go. We let it go.
It's bad. It's
okay,
bad,
we let it go.
But they brought in Roger Stern because he couldn't hack all of that stuff. It was too crazy.
We had to bring in
Roger.
Come on, Roger Stern. Come on.
He was too big a story. It's too crazy. It's too
if
nutty.
I'm writing the story, I'd love Roger Stern to come in. Okay, come on. That's a lot of history.
He's got a ton of comic history in his brain.
You want comic history? Who do you want? You want Roger Stern?
He knows everything.
Roy Thomas.
These guys, they know everything.
To be honest, Mark Waid. You want to bring those guys in. They've read just about every damn comic and they remember them. Bringing in Roger Stern is not a slight. Okay,
I say
to the writer.
Start from the beginning. So he's saying, okay, we would X out this part of the kids because like they were so. Not saying if you want to bring the kids back, which I think they already did, you can do that because they're already disappearing when they were born. They were popping in and out during the pregnancy. What's the name? Dr. Strange can't even, where does other kid come from? Because they disappeared already. So if they disappeared in the burn run, you could bring them back if you want to do that. But he didn't want to do that. He wanted to say that Vision had sex when he can't. He can't.
I can't. I'm just not following with you, Pete. I just think that
it's bogus.
Okay,
bogus.
It's like your shirt is caught on this nail, and just all you gotta do is flick it off, and you can go and enjoy the story.
I cannot.
The
artist.
You're fighting with the nail.
I think Carlos Pacheco sort of bettered himself after because he broke down. He stopped trying to do the flashy X-Men stuff where it was like a ton of things happening. You have to remember that. Perez can do 3 million characters, but he shouldn't have to. And it's a disservice to have them doing 3 million characters a page because it's hard to follow.
Well, nobody else is going to be Perez. But at the end of the day, hey, good book here. Go check it out. Think you'll like it. Even better book, Avengers Forever, if you want to.
Avengers Forever, no, never. And I'm going to have to read that? Oh, my God. I could barely get through it.
Hit those comments. You guys want to hear it? Hit those comments. Because we're talking about it now. We've pretty much done this review.
All right. Thank you, guys. We got, what'd you give it, a 4? We got a 3 from me. And it's nice art. And it's always good to see Kang in a good light. So I say go for it. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks Spinnerack. You saved me money.